Hi, I'm Monet Swan, and welcome to the Mirror. Today, I want to talk about something people don't like to talk about, honestly. Everybody loves talking about wealth. Everybody loves talking about abundance, multiple streams, millionaire habits, financial freedom, and all that shiny stuff that looks good on social media. But very few people want to talk about the real mechanics of poverty. And not just poverty in your bank account. No, no, no. Poverty in habits, poverty in planning, poverty in the environment around you, poverty in your nervous system. And I'm talking about poverty in the way we think about money. Now, I'm saying this as someone whose background is in finance and someone who has been an entrepreneur, I'm going to say most of my adult life. I have watched people start with absolutely nothing and build stability over time. And I've also watched people make very good money and stay broke for 20 years straight. So today, this is the mirror, and I'm Monet Swan. And the mirror, you guys, is not the cute mirror with the flattering lights. This mirror tells the truth. Because if you don't understand well, while you're financially struggling, you can't change the direction you're going. So today, we're going to talk about the forces that quietly keep people stuck, not just outside forces, but the internal ones too. And if you're brave enough to look into the mirror, some of this might just sting a little bit, but it might also free you. So now instead of talking about rockets and space that most financial gurus talk about, I want you to picture something else. I want you to picture a deep mud pit. Imagine trying to walk out of that pit. Every step forward, a boot gets stuck. You pull your leg up and you take another step, and the mud grabs you again. You finally get a little traction, and then life shows up with another problem. The rent goes up, the car breaks down, the medical bill shows up, the hours at work get cut, and suddenly you slide right back down into that mud again. That is what I call the mud pit effect. And a lot of people are living inside of it every day, claiming it, arguing about it, but not doing anything about it. And it's not because they're lazy. Let's be clear about that right now. Most struggling people I know, they're not lazy. They're just exhausted. Being broke is exhausting because here's the truth nobody tells you. Poverty is expensive. Let me say that again. Poverty is expensive. When you have money, well, you can prevent problems. When you don't have money, you pay for the same problems over and over and over again. This is what I call the broke penalty. Everything costs more when you have less. Why? Well, you can't buy in bulk. You pay higher interest, you pay late fees, you pay overdraft fees, and your insurance is higher, and your credit costs. So today, we're going to talk about the system that literally charges you extra for being under pressure. And then people say things like, well, why don't you just save more money? Say what? The penalties? And this leads to another rule I've seen play out over and over again in real life. I call it the pay twice rule. When you don't have enough money to buy quality once, you end up buying the same thing over and over again. The cheaper appliance breaks. The cheaper shoes fall apart. The cheaper option becomes the more expensive life. Now, here's where it gets deeper because poverty doesn't just affect your wallet. Okay. It affects your brain. Yeah, it does. Long-term financial stress puts people into what I call survival brain. When you're living in survival brain, well, you stop thinking about 5 years from now and you start worrying about Friday, tomorrow, whatever that looks like for you. Your brain is busy trying to solve the next emergency. That's not stupidity, that's biology. But if you're there too long, your entire life becomes one reactive problem, one problem after another, one crisis after another. So the first real solution is not getting rich. The first solution is stopping the bleeding. Your first financial goal is not investing. It's not starting a business. It's not buying a house. Your first goal is building a buffer, $500, $1,000, something that gives your life breathing room because a small buffer changes your behavior. The next inconvenience, I said inconvenience, doesn't turn into a disaster like it's been in the past. That buffer buys back your brain. So now let's talk about something people judge all the time, but rarely understand: spending for relief. I call this the relief spending loop. When life is stressful, your brain wants a win, something that feels good right now. A purchase can give you a little dopamine hit, a new pair of shoes, maybe a new gadget, takeout, even though you know you got groceries at home. And for a few minutes, you actually feel better. But the relief is temporary. The debt is permanent. The dopamine fades in about 20 minutes. The payment plan stays for months or even years. So here's a solution: replace the reward system. Okay. Instead of getting a rush from buying things, start getting a rush from building something. Okay. Watching your savings grow, be excited about that. Watching your debt shrink, be excited about that. Watching stability increase, be excited about that because your brain needs proof that discipline works. Okay, another powerful tool is what I call the 24-hour rule. If it's not essential, wait a full day before buying it. A lot of financial damage comes from purchases that only made sense for about 10 minutes. And we call them 10 emotional minutes. Now, let's talk about the trap that keeps hardworking people tired, because I hear it all the day, every day, and I call this the hourly ceiling. Most people are taught that if you want more money, you just work more hours, overtime, second job, weekend shifts. But here's the math problem: time has a ceiling, your body has limits, but your expenses don't. Inflation goes up whether you're tired or not. So if all your income comes from hours, eventually you'll hit a wall. The solution here is increasing value. Let me say that again. The solution comes by increasing your value, not just your effort. This is what I call value layering. Instead of being average at one skill, combine two or three. Okay? Communication plus organization, sales plus caregiving, technology plus teaching. The market doesn't pay for effort, you guys. You know that. The market pays for rarity. The more unique moves and the more you combine them, well, you become harder to replace. And that opens new income doors. Now, here's a truth people don't like hearing. Sometimes it's not just the economy holding you down. You guys know where I'm going with this. Sometimes the atmosphere around you is the problem. My mother used to call it the crab bucket culture. If everyone around you normalizes chaos, overspending, complaining, and financial confusion, well, that becomes your environment. It's hard to grow like that. Humans mirror what they see. So protecting your mind matters. That might mean reading books, watching podcasts, finding mentors, communities that talk about ownership, strategy, and growth like it's normal, because it is normal. It's not always common in every circle. Okay. Now, before I go further, I want to pause for a moment. If this conversation is helping you see things a little clearer, I want to invite you to join me every Saturday for the Mirror. This space is about reflection, growth, and truth, not fluff, not pretending, real conversations that help you move forward. So if you're getting value from this, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, share, like, and join me every Saturday. Now, let's get back to the mirror. Let's get back to the poverty dilemma. That is one of the biggest dividing lines in our financial world. And now I call this the interest divide. One group of people pays interest, another group earns interest. When you are buried in debt, compound interest is not your friend, it works against you. Every day the numbers grow heavier. But when you own assets, compound growth works for you. Your money grows while you sleep. That's why the goal is not just earning money, you guys. The goal is eventually owning things that grow. Okay. Now, before that happens, you have to stabilize your foundation, which means dealing honestly with your debt. Minimum payments are not a strategy. Minimum payments are a slow leak. You need a plan. List your debts. Look at the interest rates. Okay. Choose a payoff method. Highest interest first or smallest balance first. Doesn't matter. Either one works if you stay consistent. And while you're paying off your debt, stop adding new chaos to the pile. Digging out while still spending recklessly is another financial theater. Another powerful solution is something simple but rarely practiced: a weekly money meeting with yourself. Take 15 minutes. That's it. Look at what came in, what went out, and what's due next week. Okay? Awareness changes behavior faster than shame ever will. And now let's talk about something deeper. Sometimes people sabotage money because chaos feels familiar. Yeah. Stability feels strange when you've been struggling to be normal for the last 15 years. So the real mirror question becomes this: what do you believe about money? Do you believe money always disappears? Do you believe you'll never catch up? Do you believe success will isolate you? Because those beliefs matter. Because unchallenged beliefs quietly ruin your financial decision. So here's the real path forward. Track your spending for 30 days. Cut obvious leaks. Build a starter emergency fund. Use waiting rules to stop impulse spending. Choose a debt payoff strategy. Learn one new income building skill. Hold a weekly money meeting with yourself. Surround your mind with voices that talk about ownership and discipline. Those are real actionable steps, not motivational fluff, but real attraction. Get this real traction to move forward, because most people don't need perfection. They need momentum. One better decision repeated over time makes the dream work. That's how stability is built. And that's how people climb right out of the mud. Not overnight, not magically, step by step. Okay? So, if this episode made something click for you today, and you want help turning these ideas into real strategy in your life, I'm going to invite you to take the next step with me. If you would like some alchemical coaching to make this real for you, go to monayswan.life and schedule your one-on-one with me today. I would love to work with you. Our individual sessions are confidential. Not everything and everyone needs to be part of the social media circle. So if you want to grow with real support, simply go to the website and click on the link. It's automatically confidential. Now, if you're still trying to decide whether you want to join me every Saturday for the mirror, where we keep telling the truth and building something better together, this is the place to start, either here on LinkedIn or Facebook. Our group meetings are very deep, okay? And our individual meetings go at a pace that you will want, not somebody else's, okay? You can meet us over Zoom or in a group setting. And I want to leave you with this thought, okay? Wealth doesn't start when money shows up. Wealth starts the moment you decide chaos is no longer your operating system. So if you love that, I want to hear from you because we can do this together. I don't want people being overwhelmed. I don't want people suicidal. I don't want people thinking they can't. It can't be done. It can be done. You just have to be with the right people who want to get it done. And then you have to decide you want to get it done. I'm here for you. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Monet Swan.